Coach, obviously, when a team's ranked number one, a lot of positives about them. But from what you've seen from Louisville, what kind of stands out specifically about them?
Yeah, they have all the ingredients of a championship team. Definitely one of the best teams in college basketball. They returned most of their players from last year. I think 6 of their top 7 scorers. So they have that experience factor. It would be very similar if we were returning, Culver and Brandon and Tariq and Matt and these guys. So they've got the experience. They've also recruited well. Grad transfer contributing to their team. 2 freshmen that are getting minutes. So they've got the roster. In terms of their coach, just somebody I really respect. Been following his teams for a long time, and what he's done at Louisville, in only his second year to be the number one team in the country speaks for itself.
For you guys, when it comes to maybe being more successful inside, how much of it is just having that will to want to go and body someone up in the paint?
Offensively or defensively?
Let's go offensively in that one. Trying to have that success inside. Is it just a will? Is it more technique based having success inside?
I think a little bit of all, probably. We try to attack people in different ways. The last 3 games, great example. We've had a lot of great shots around the basket. We just have to finish at a higher percentage. Those are shots we work on every day. I have a lot of confidence in our players that we'll continue to get better at that as the season goes on.
Chris, how's Jemias progressing? Is he still day to day? You're still uncertain for his status for Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, day to day continues. He's started to do more in terms of what he's doing to rehab. First couple of days it was just all kind of training room based. Now he's moving around. When he gets to full speed, he'll play. Until then, he'll just continue to see how he feels every day. But there's a pattern. He's definitely felt better each day. That's why we continue to say day to day. Hopeful that he'll play in the game this week, but won't know probably till the morning of.
And what do you see on the tape from Jordan Nwora that just makes him stand out for Louisville?
Well, he's definitely wired like a scorer. He's a guy that every time he gets the ball, he's trying to get a bucket. Every team needs one of these guys. He does a great job. I would say that their team really sets him up to be successful. In all his baskets, he has people spacing for him, screening for him, passing for him. So he's one of the best scorers in college basketball, but he's also playing for a team and for a coach that understand his role and are helping him. We recruited him here to Tech and in the early stages. Great respect for his family. His father's a great coach in himself, and so he's a guy that we've always kind of followed and pulled for from a distance because we got to know him, briefly in recruiting. So he's having a great career at Louisville. He's one of the best players in college basketball, and he's certainly a guy that can get a basket almost any time he wants. And so we'll have to do a great job with team defense on one of the best, scorers in college basketball.
And obviously you got that experience last year too, playing Duke. This year, number 1 team Louisville. How valuable is it to kind of get these games before conference play starts against these really, really high caliber opponents?
Yeah, it's everybody has a purpose in their non-conference schedule. It's to get them ready to play different styles, different locations, different days of prep. Sometimes you get a couple days between the games, just like the Big 12. Sometimes you have more. Sometimes you don't have any prep at all, just like a Big 12 tournament game. Sometimes you have one day, like an NCAA tournament set up. So this is the next game on the schedule, which to us is the most important game of the season. It's always been our approach. This is what life in the Big 12 is like. So these rankings, it's early. It'll all shake out, but it's not deniable. Louisville is one of the best teams in the country. They'll compete for their conference championship. They'll be an NCAA tournament team. More important than ranked 1 or ranked 10 is just that we're playing a team that's going to be very similar to the teams that we're going to have to play in league play to have the kind of season we all want to have.
And last one from me, but playing in the Jimmy V Classic, such like a great cause. How much bigger is this type of tournament than basketball?
Yeah, we're honored and proud to be a part of this game. First of all, I think it reflects where we've built the program. In our 4th year, we're playing in arguably the biggest game in the non-conference in college basketball. people are storming the court when they beat us, and we're continuing to have great support on the road and home. So all these things go into, I think, what I'm trying to explain to our players is really, where we've built the program. Now comes the responsibility to understand that in a lot of ways we're the hunted, not the hunter anymore, and we just got to find ways to play better. Specifically for us, we've been in 3 really close one-possession games. A basket here, a stop there. Our record looks a lot different, and the mood feels a lot different. But to me, you stay the course. We could be sitting here, 8-0, 9-0, whatever it is, versus 3 or 4 losses. We're really the same team. The idea is to get better each game, and I think we're doing that. It hasn't quite shown up on the scoreboard yet, but I remain confident that it will. This game, like you said, is a lot bigger than just college basketball. The things that Coach Valvano did in basketball, winning the championship, speak for itself. But his platform in life with cancer research and awareness is so much greater than basketball, and we feel that way about this game. Again, we're honored. We're proud to be a part of this game, and we're going to do everything that we can to represent West Texas and Texas Tech and our program. There's not one person in the world that hasn't been affected or is being affected by cancer in some way. I'm no different. You're no different. So in this game, to bring awareness and to raise money is something that's really, really important.
How do you get kids, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, to treat Madison Square Garden with all kind of how well-known it is and all of that? Treat it like it's a regular basketball gym and you're just playing like any other game of basketball.
It should be very similar to the venues that we play in the Big 12 and NCAA tournament games and Big 12 tournament games. We talk a lot in our program about opportunity, and with each game brings another opportunity. So any chance you get to play in one of the biggest games in college basketball, in New York City, in Madison Square Garden, it's a great opportunity. We're fortunate, right? It's our 4th year to play in the Garden, and we'll be back in New York next year in the preseason NIT. So as we built the program, it was always an objective to play in these type atmospheres, to play in these type stages, to play in these type games. And, my mind always reflects back to the past teams and the past players that have built the program with us to get us to this point. And then the current team has to take advantage of the opportunity and understand the responsibility to play well in these type games.
Chris, you've become so used to winning over the last couple of years and elsewhere at other places in your career. How does it affect you when you have a little losing streak?
Yeah, just got to kind of practice what I preach, kind of step back and think about the things that we ask our players to do, be mentally tough, play the next game on the schedule, think about process more than outcome. And so as a coach, that's where I always kind of ground myself, just get back to exactly what, I asked Keenan Evans to do and what I asked Zaire Smith to do and Justin Gray and now Zaire and TJ and Clarence and these guys. And, there's no fancy answer to that. You stick to the process, you keep grinding. And with a young team and an inexperienced team in a lot of ways, I just constantly tell the guys the truth. I don't spend a lot of time trying to think of some motivational ploy or, I don't look at the internet every morning trying to find a motivational story. I get back to the truth. The truth is, our team has a lot of talent. Our team's played a lot of good basketball. We've just lost, 3 close games. And now it's time to just try to figure out how to win a close game. None of us like losing. I haven't been in many streaks like this in my career personally. We've got some players in that locker room that haven't experienced this either. But it's time to buck up. It's time to practice what we preach. It's time to make sure that our culture is real. When you hit adversity, you find out a lot about yourself, and that's where we are now.
Do you get any less sleep in times like this, or are you pretty good about maintaining your routine here and away from the court both?
I try to be consistent, just like I tell the players. We win the game on the buzzer at DePaul. You get back the next day, you still got to get your shots up and get in the film room and the training room. And as us coaches, we have to eliminate distractions and start preparing for the next game. Nothing really changes. What happens with wins or losses is all the outside world changes. Instead of getting 65 texts from your best friends, you have, 5 guys trying to get you fired, and you have 2 guys, hanging in there with you. It's just the outside stuff is what changes, but you have to stick to who you are and what you are. Same thing as players, same thing as coaches. So sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to get to sleep during these times, but we really try to stay consistent.
I'm sure you probably talked about it up there in Chicago, but what'd you think of what Terrence Shannon did, being a freshman in his hometown, to put up the numbers that he did the other night?
Yeah, I mean, coach's speech would be great player, young guy, good game, but, I mean, let's keep it real. It's really hard to go back and play at home in front of all your people, and you got tickets, you got family, you just got the pressure of wanting to do great. And every once in a while you'll see a special performance like that. It was special. Did he play perfect? No, of course not. Nobody does, but he played with big courage and poise. And, it was impressive. It was a game that I'll never forget. It's undeniable, what he did in front of his hometown. And, we've been consistent here saying how good a player we think TJ can be. Obviously with the talent, the length, the work ethic, but it's the intangibles too. He's tough, and on that night, very clearly, you could see his courage, and you could see the kind of confidence he has in himself and his team.
Through this losing streak, Coach, there's got to be some positives that you can use to keep building these guys up, because as I know, for me, when losses start piling up, you start to get down, so you got to build them back up. What are you seeing in those 3 losses that you can still point to, like, we're still doing good here, we're still going to do it good here, one thing here, one thing there, we're back in this game, or for the next game?
Yeah, again, like I just said, fellas, in a close game, you're one possession away from feeling totally different, but it doesn't change who you are, how you play. In the Iowa game, if we get one more defensive rebound, we feel like we have a chance to win. In the Creighton game, if we get one more call, if we get one more basket, one more stop, I mean, you're right there. And certainly the DePaul game, back-to-back overtime game. So the positives are you're playing, 5 freshmen, and you have 10 players, and your leading scorer has been out the last 2.5 games. But you're right there with Iowa from the Big Ten, Creighton from the Big East, and DePaul, what I think is one of the best teams in college basketball right now. They're 8-0. They've won road games. So, again, it's just the obvious. We're right there. And, close doesn't get it done, but close is where you start when you're building something to get better. So we just got to clean up some things. We got to stay consistent, and we got to stay the course. And, sooner and later we'll be on the other ends of these games. And that'll be the next step in building. But I think, the positives are the reality that we're playing some pretty good basketball right now. We just got to figure out a way to get that extra stop, to get that extra basket, have to eliminate distractions in times of adversity and stay positive. And it starts with your leadership. Morrow and Kyler and Avery as the returners are doing a great job. There's nobody in college basketball trying harder than those 3 guys. They want to win more than anybody. Our 2 grad transfer seniors are trying. They bought in. They want to win. They feel the urgency. And then I think our young guys are doing everything they can. So I remain optimistic. I love this team. I fight for these guys. There's no one I'd rather be coaching right now. I think it's early in the season. We're a work in progress, and we're looking forward to this next opportunity. The next opportunity happens to be the #1 team in the country, so let's go see what we can do.